everyone. So in this video, what we are going to look is the basics of SQL. What is SQL? What is data? What is database? How data is stored in database? What is the full form SQL, that is structured query language? So what is the mean of it structured? What it means by query and what it means by language? So we will break down into three pieces. Okay. So to start the basic introduction of data and database, we first have to look at any software application. Okay, we in daily life we use many kind of software application. For example, whether it is social media app like Instagram or e-commerce app like Amazon and entertainment app like Netflix and all. So they all these software applications are can be divided into basically two modular part or two fundamental parts. The two parts can be front end and the other one is back end. So a software application, sorry, a software application has broadly two parts, a front end and a back end. So what is front end? What is back end? So front end is what user sees. So it is what user sees. Take next. Next, front end. Another definition of front end can be uh, interface with which user interacts. Okay. Another definition can be what user gets in his her mobile screen. Okay. So these all three definitions can be called as front end. First is what user sees. Second is what interface with which user interacts. And next is what user gets in his or her mobile screen. For example, when we open Instagram or any social media for the very first time, for example, if we are not a part of it and we are opening it for the very first time to join the community. So what we get in any basic social media app, that is first we get a so first we get this kind of a screen, mobile screen, and what we have first there will be a field like this, next a field like this, and then we have a button. So what a basic form asks from a user. So first it can ask name, no sorry, it can ask email, and then it can ask password, and then we have a button for submit button. Okay, so this is called front end. So this is what front end is, what we see in our mobile screen, and we are interacting with only this screen. We are entering our email, we are entering our password, and we are clicking this submit button. So these all things are called interactions. So interactions, what will be the interactions? Entering email, password, and then click button. So these are interactions what we are going to do in this form. When we click the submit button, what's going to happen next? So when we are clicking the submit button, this data, this data, what the data is? Email, password, yeah, email, password will go in the form of request over the network to the server. Okay, so what it is, when we have entered our email, we have entered our password, we have clicked the button. These are called interactions, like entering email or entering password and clicking button. When we click the submit button, all this data, that's email and password, will go in the form of request over the network to the server. Now what is server? So basically this backend is a common general name, but this backend can be represented in form of server. So this is our Instagram server where our details are going to be stored. So what it is? What a server is? Where our details are going to be stored. Okay. So what details we have sent over the network, that is email and password. So now in server, our what our responsibility and whatever interaction was till we click the button. From the next step, whatever we will do will be the role of this backend and this server. Now, suppose this is a server. Now this server is also called a database. It has another name called database. So what is database? Database. Base is something. So let's decode the word that is data. What is data? Data is any raw information collected. Data. What is data? Raw information collected. This email and this password is collected from my side, from user side. So this is called a data. Data of what? Data of my data. My email and my password is my data, which is collected by this form and sent over the network to the server. So this is called data. Now what does the base means? So yes, so base. When we hear the base word for the general purpose, what we, for example, we have called a army base. So army base means there will be a group of soldiers living there, okay, for a specific purpose, for example, okay. So base is where things reside in collection. You can take it a general definition, or there can be another definition of base, but here this I think it will be suitable here for the defining the database. So what is database? It will be collection of data in the form of tables. Okay. So database, what is data? Collection of what? Collection of data in the form of tables. Now in the form of tables. So we know the database, why it is called database, because it is a collection of data. It means that data resides in the database in form of a collection. Okay. So in form of tables. Now what's table? So all of you are much aware about the Google Forms. If not, you can search for it. What is a Google Form? So Google Form, for example, we get a Google Form from our school or from our college or from anything as a survey. What Google Form asks is, it asks our, for example, it asks name, class, and a feedback. For example, if I have to get feedback for this tutorial video, what I will do is I will paste the form link of the Google Form in the description box, and you all will fill it. And whatever you will fill, for example, you have filled your name, you have filled your class, and you have filled your feedback, that how the video is and what are the plus or minus points. Then all this data I will get in the form of this Excel sheet. Currently, this Excel sheet I am showing as an example. It has nothing because I haven't added any Google Form. So if for example, I've added a Google Form and you guys have filled, so it will have an ID, then it will have a column called name, then it will have class, and then it will have what feedback. Okay, so in this form I will get a Google Sheet. Okay, so for example, one user have filled the form, so it will be 1. Name, for example, name Rohan. Class is in 11th class. Feedback, positive feedback. Okay. So when a user has filled the form, I will get a data in the form of table. This is called table. As you all know, this MS Excel stores data in form of table. This is a table. What a table is? It has columns and it has rows. The intersection of column and row is called a cell. Okay. So in the same way, in the database, the data is stored in the form of tables. In the form of tables means it will have some columns and it will have some rows. For example, instead of Google Form, I have an app or website, and in the website, instead of Google Form, I have an for example, my website. Okay, my website. So what will be in my website? I provide a feedback form. So what will be in the feedback form? What are the general things that I may ask? The same general things what I'm going to ask from all to all are. So first there will be a input field, then this is a text area, and this is the submit button. Okay, so I will ask your email or name, and this is a text box for the feedback, and this is a submit button. So one way what I have discussed is, one way is a Google form in which I will get all your data in this Excel sheet in form of rows and columns. Okay, this is a tabular representation of data, your data which you want to submit to me. Okay, instead of Google form, if I have a website, okay, if I have a website, and in website I have a form which the details as name, username, email, or a text for the feedback and the submit button. So for example, in the same way, you have entered your name, you have entered feedback, and you have clicked the button. In the same way, this all request, I will get this request in my database. This I will get. Okay, so this is what? This is my database which I am using for my website. Okay, so here I will get all your details. So how I will design this database? I will design this database because what I want to name. Okay, I want your feedback. So the basic structure of database will be I have two columns. What two columns? Oh. Yes, and yes, I have two columns. One column will be name, another column will be feedback. Okay, so this is what my basic database design will look like if I have to take your name and feedback. In the column, I will have your name and I will have your feedback. For example, here your name is Rohan, and here your here your feedback will store positive or positive feedback. Okay, so this is how databases look. So database, the basic representation of database is kind of similar to the Excel sheet. Excel sheet has tables, database also has tables. It also has columns, it also has rows. Okay, so now how database is different from Excel sheet. Okay, so till now what we have learned, that any software application has two parts basically, front end and back end. A front end is what users use, for example this, and back end is where its data get stored. And here we have learned where it was, yeah, here we have what is data, any raw information collected, what is the base, where things are designed in form of collections. And what is database? Database means collection of data in form of tables. We know what data is and we know how it is stored in form of tables. Okay. So that's the basic representation of how database looks. Nice, thanks. So what next? Now we have to know that what is SQL. So SQL stands for structured query language. Now SQL is an abbreviation and the full form stands for structured query language. So let's decode it word by word. So first is structured. What does it mean? So look, let's assume that this is our database because the representation is kind of the same. Okay. So here, if you look that we have this ID column where my IDs will be stored. For example, I have 18 users and 18 users ID will be stored in a proper increment ascending order. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Next, we have a name. Name will be stored, for example, Rohan, then it will be Justin, then John, then Leon, then okay, Aisha, and etc. Okay. Then class will be stored, for example, 12, 11, 10, 5. Okay. And feedback, for example, positive feedback, negative feedback, whatever it is, we will call it. Okay. Next. So this is what structured data looks like. For example, if I have to check that I have to find what I have to find, I have to find Rohan. I have to find Rohan. So we know that Rohan is a name. So if Rohan is a name, then where it will be? It will be in the name column. Okay. So this is called structured data where it is stored in a form of proper rows and columns. For example, Rohan. The first user is Rohan, whose class is 111 and feedback is positive feed. Next is Justin and the class is 12 and the feedback is again positive feedback. So this is called structured. It is a properly structured form. Okay. Next, what is a query? Okay, so what is query? Let's understand what a query is. Query. It has another name. We can generally call as a request to the database. Now, what we did in Instagram, let's take the example of Instagram. We have, okay, let's copy it. Let's try to copy it. And then paste it here. Yes, yes. So it is front end. So we have successfully authenticated to in Instagram. We have entered our email and password, and the next option which Instagram will show is the create profile. So Instagram create profile. Okay. So next it will be what it gonna ask. It's gonna ask my name and city. So Instagram will ask my name, my city. I will click the button. All this will go to Instagram database. Okay. Now, you all know that Instagram has a profile screen. For example, what this is profile screen of the Instagram. Okay. Here what will display? Name, display, and then city, display. So we have two screens. Okay. So what we have is two screens. First screen is we have to create our profile. We are submitting our name. We are submitting our city. So here name is for submit. Here city is for submit. Okay. In professional terms, in not professional, but yeah, in official terms, it is called a post request. Post means we are submitting all this data to the server. What is we are submitting our data to the server? So it is called post request. Okay. So we have submitted our name, we have submitted our city, we click the button, and then we have a profile screen. In profile screen, our name will display, our city will display, and profile screen will not have this submit button. Yes. So this is called. Here we have post. Here we will have get request. What get request means? We are requesting. Or we can say that app, not we are app. Instagram app is requesting So Instagram is requesting, app is requesting the database to give visual details. What the details are? Name and city. And what's the purpose? App has to display these details in the app has to display these details in the profile screen. Okay. So we have in Instagram we have a profile screen where we can see our name and city. So how does it work in the backside? So app will send a GET request to the database that please give me this username's name and the city so that I can display it in the profile screen too. So this request is called query. So here the word query comes. Query. What it is? Requesting the database to give a certain data. Oh, yeah, this is enough. So what query is? Requesting the database to give certain data. Here what the data we are requesting is name and city. So this is called query. This is what query means. For example, in Excel sheet, we have Rohan, we have 11, and we have feedback. Is there any interface where I can write in Excel? Is there any interface where I can write that, hey Excel, please give me the feedback of Rohan, whose ID is 1 and class is 11. Is there any interface through which I can run this request and get the data from Excel sheet? No. Okay. So that's what the disadvantage of Excel sheet. That's where the database is a positive word, and that's the advantage of database. And that this or the request is called query. The query, we can't make query to the Excel sheet, but we can make request, we can make query from the database. So that's where the database is differentiated from a normal Excel sheet. Okay. So what we have learned, where it is, sure. So till now we have learned the structure. What the structure means? The data in the tables is in structured format, and query means request sent to the database. And language now. What language means? Here language, look, you may think or it can be possible that here language means we are communicating with the database. So we need a language for it. Hence, it is called language. So you may think or it may be possible that language means this, but here, as per me, if I'm not wrong, here language means with specific syntax. What majorly language means here is with specific syntax. For example, you may are familiar with various programming languages. For example, Python, Java, C, C++. They all have a specific syntax. Only if you write all these programming languages in syntax, then only your program will be going to run. Then only you can execute your program. You can develop things. So here language means SQL has also a very specific syntax through which you can make queries. For example, this query. Okay, we have deleted it. So I have deleted. For example, we have to request this data. So in general English, how we will write? Please give me all users from the feedback table. Okay, this is how we are telling in general English the database that please give me all users from the feedback table. But in SQL, what we will write is select asterisk from users. This will return all the users all the users from the feedback table. Okay. With me all users, no, okay. Select asterisk from uh, feedback table. Okay. This select means we are requesting. This asterisk means all the users, all the columns, all the data, whatever we have. From means from what? From the destination. And this is what? Table name. Here you have noticed that I have written all those things in the lowercase, but in SQL, the convention is we have to write the SQL keywords in uppercase letters. For example, select from is SQL keywords, and the table name. Table name can be a small letter. So this is basically convention, but the program will execute in both of lowercase and uppercase format. Okay. So this is what SQL means. So till now, what we have learned: software application, front end, back end. Then how front end and back end works, how request is sent, what is server, what is database, then what is this interaction. We took an example of Google Form and Excel sheet. Then we have learned about what SQL is, structured query language, what structure means, what query means, what language means. And query is request to the database. And then we took an example of Instagram, where here we are submitting the form, and here app is requesting from the database that I want this. So this is in the form of query. And then we have learned that we can't make query and we can't make request to retrieve to get some data from Excel sheet. Hence, this is a disadvantage. Okay. So this is what a general query looks like in SQL. So this is general English, and this is an SQL query. Okay. So this is what now is SQL is. So to practice SQL, what I am going to use in this tutorial is, for some videos, is this SQLiteonline.com website. Okay, it is free. You don't have to sign up or log in. I think yes, you don't have to sign up or log in. Just go to the link. You will get this interface. Okay. So first is here we have to create a database. So go to this icon and create a DB. We can create DB 50 rows. Okay. So here, we have a database tutorial.db. So we have a database ready. So as we have learned that database is a collection of tables. So here we have to create table. For example, if we have to create a table. Let's take a name, feedback table. Okay. So the SQL query we are going to run is create table. The name will be feedback underscore table. Okay. So till now, create means we are requesting the database to create something. What it has to create? It has to create a table, and the table name will be feedback table. Okay. So to create a table, we have to define its columns. So first column here in Excel sheet, what the first column is the ID. So we define ID as int, then comma. Then the next column is name. So name we define varchar as 20, and then we have a class that is int. Then we have a feedback column varchar 50, and then we close the bracket and then semicolon. So the one way is to run, you click here or you press the shift enter. Look, we have pressed the shift enter, and the table, feedback table, is now created. When you open it, you will see the column that is ID, the name, class, and the feedback. So if we break down our syntax, our code, this is the create command. What it has to create? A table. This is what? Table name. We have to include all the column name between this braces. Okay. So first is ID. These things, int, varchar, again int, and varchar. These are all called data types. Okay. So in SQL, it is as we know that it is a language. So it has also data types. So int. you can see in the sheet that these are all int 1, 2, 3, 4 to n. Okay, so here I have given the data type as int. So varchar is basically used for textual data. For example, name is textual data, feedback is also text data. Here in inside the braces, I have written here 20 and here 15. So these are all constrained. For example, the length of name. The length of name cannot be greater than 20. If it will be 21, then it will show an error. Okay. Similarly, the feedback shouldn't be greater than 50 words, 50 text characters. Okay. So this is called constraint. And we have read, we have a database. Okay, we already existed. So this is how we create a table. If we have to delete this table, what command we are going to run is drop table name, comma, shift enter. Okay. So yeah, drop table. The table is deleted. You can see now. The table is deleted. DB is empty. So these are the two first or basic commands, that how to create a database, how to add columns, how to delete the database. In the upcoming video, what we will learn is how to insert, how to retrieve, how to update, how to delete. So these all things. So there are four things. That is CRUD operations. What CRUD operations are? Create, retrieve, updated, delete. So we will know how to create or insert, how to retrieve the data, how to update, and how to delete. Okay, let's give a short example. So first we will create the table again. Create feedback table. Let's take the left columns varchar 20 id int comma delete this comma. This enter, the table is now created. We will run the command, this command. Where is this? Select this from table name. Select asterisk from feedback table. So if we run this command, you can see we have a column ID, we have a column name. These are all cells. So currently my database is empty, so it is showing nothing. To insert, what command is used? Insert into feedback table. What values we have to insert is, first is ID in form of int. So we have to write, for example, 1. Then name is form of text. So we have to write inside the quotes. Okay. So we run. So okay, the data is now inserted. Now if we run the command again, select asterisk from feedback table column, you can see the ID is 1, the name is Rohan. Okay, so this is how SQL works. Again, if we do insert into feedback table, values, what values? For example, if we insert 12 and if we insert Rohan, will SQL accept this command? Error. What is the SQL result code 1? No such column Rohan. Should this be a distinct literal in single quote? Okay, single quotes Rohan. Okay. I don't know how it ran. So we view our data. Yeah, it is working. So ID is 1, name is Rohan, again ID is 12, ID was 12, and it is Rohan. Okay. So we can also run commands like a normal program in multiple lines. For example, insert into feedback table, values will be 2, name will be John, and then select this from feedback table. And we run this. So First, it did this, and then we can all see the database table. Okay. So this is how SQL works. This is how command works. In the upcoming video, what we are going to learn is create, retrieve, update, delete. Then we will have multiple topics in SQL. For example, various functions, the filter, the searching. Then we have how to connect. What is the relationship between two tables in a single database? How the relationship is managed? What are keys? You can see that here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is auto incrementing. So we will see that what is auto increment. In keys, we will learn primary key, foreign key. Then what we will learn. So if I write here for all your references, what we are going to learn: key, primary, and foreign. Then what we search and filters. Then what? Then altering table or updating table, data. Then what? Relationship between tables, and then we have another term called relational database. Then what we will learn? We will learn constraints. What we will learn? We will learn data types and etc. So we will learn all these things about SQL in the upcoming videos. Okay.